gifts have always carried meaning. I'm thinking of the gifts I received during this season, and a lot of times these gifts reflect who the giver is on a much deeper level. They reflect what and who you value. They tell a story about what we want to bring into the lives of the people we love. Christmas can be a beautiful opportunity to widen the circle of who we honor, who we learn from, and who we support through our generosity.
We are represented. We are represented. We are represented.
Welcome to Represented, the podcast. I'm Aniki Shuru, racial equity coach for online business owners who want to be intentionally inclusive by building a business that is racially equitable. I created this podcast to normalize a conversation around racial inclusion so that fear is no longer the barrier that gets in the way of doing this work. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Whether you're taking your first steps or you're well-versed in the journey towards racial equity, this space is for you. So welcome home, friend. Let's get started.
From coast to coast, around the globe, we are represented.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Represented Podcast. As the year draws to a close, many of us are feeling a mix of emotions. Maybe you're feeling relief that the year is almost done. Today, I saw one of the school moms and she's like, Annie, I'm done. I am so done. I am so glad we have come to the end and this is the last day. And yeah, just so relieved to be done. Or maybe you're feeling a little fatigue from all that we've carried, and we've carried a fair bit, all of us collectively as a community. And perhaps you're feeling the pull towards rest and time with loved ones. You know, December has a way of slowing us down while still, I feel, requiring a lot from us at the same time. And for some of you listening, this is the moment when you are possibly tying up loose ends, finishing client work, and thinking about gifts for the people you care about. So today, I want to offer something pretty simple and to illustrate that inclusion can indeed be part and parcel, and I say this often, part and parcel of how you do life and business. I want to show you how you can make your giving a little bit more inclusive this Christmas. So, in this episode, at its core, it's really about choosing with intention, my friend. Whether you have finished your Christmas shopping and just wow, if you have, just wow, because I have not finished, let alone I'm yet to start, if I'm being very honest, or you're still figuring out what to get. I hope this conversation helps you reflect on the kind of giver you want to be, because Christmas really is a time of giving. I know as a kid, it probably felt like it was a time for us to receive and ask for whatever we wanted from our wish list. And, you know, it's all about Santa. But as you grow up, you begin to realize there's so much more to Christmas. And so I just want to dedicate this episode to how can we do this in a meaningful way, giving, that is, because gifts have always carried meaning. I'm thinking of the gifts I received during this season, and a lot of times these gifts reflect who the giver is on a much deeper level. They reflect what and who you value. They tell a story about what we want to bring into the lives of the people we love. Christmas can be a beautiful opportunity to widen the circle of who we honor, who we learn from, and who we support through our generosity. And these are the parts of inclusion where it gets to be joyful, creative, and a chance to celebrate voices and communities that are often overlooked. And so today, I want to share 5 inclusive ways to give this Christmas. Choose what feels right for you. Even one small change can make a really, really big difference. So listen up. Even though you finished shopping, just listen up because I know there's some really, really good ideas here. So, number one, gift items created by underrepresented voices. And one of the most meaningful ways we can practice inclusion is through the stories, wisdom, and creativity we share with others. So, books, art, and creative work shapes how we see the world. When we give gifts created by people who are often underrepresented, we are inviting new perspectives into the homes of our family and friends. A book that I'm currently gifting right now is Grounded Success by Kemi Nekvapil, who joined me here on the podcast a couple of episodes ago. Her work has impacted thousands of women globally, and her message about cultivating success on your own terms would make such a beautiful gift. So if you haven't considered that, that's a gift to consider. You might also consider a cookbook from a culture that is different from your own. If you're here in Australia, I love Marion Gransby recipes. They're simply mouth-watering Asian cuisine. And I know that will make such a great gift, especially for people who love being in the kitchen. I love being in the kitchen. I love cooking, and that would make such a beautiful gift. A poetry collection by women of color, or even children's books that center diverse characters. When I became a mom for the first time over 12 years ago, there wasn't much by way of children's books being diverse in their characters and having, children of color represented. But I have to say, here in Australia, our department stores have really stepped up and seeing so many changes that have taken place. And so you could very easily go to one of our large department stores and find those books with diverse characters. And you have to be really intentional in doing that. And even online now, online there's a plethora of different kinds of books that you can find. And so being very intentional with the kind of gifts that you're giving and centering those underrepresented voices, because these gifts help expand imagination and representation in ways that live on beyond the giving of that gift. And don't you just love that gift that just keeps on giving even after the season is over? And this is a great way. A lot of my students ask me, Annie, how do I have conversations about race, about diversity, equity, and inclusion in a way in which my loved ones will listen to me? This is such a great way of doing it because you're not the one necessarily talking to them about it, but through the gift that you give, it will begin to expand their perspective and normalize having those representations within the home. Okay. Excuse me. Number 2, shop from small business owners owned by people of color. Christmas is one of the busiest seasons for small business owners and for many entrepreneurs of color. This time makes a big difference to the sustainability of their work. So, choosing to buy from Black owned, Indigenous owned, or migrant owned businesses is such a practical way to redistribute resources and support communities that are often overlooked. This might be skincare crafted by a local Indigenous maker, candles or homewares created by women of color, or art prints from First Nation artists. Even a gift voucher to a small business in your community can have a meaningful ripple effect because more often it's not only a purchase, it's an investment in someone's livelihood and looking beyond to their legacy as well. Number three, giving experiences that expand perspectives. So, experiences, right? And as I was saying before, some gifts stay with us long after the season has passed. And experiences, this is one of them. Giving an experience that connects someone to a culture, a story, or perspective outside their usual world can be both joyful and also very inclusive. So, this could be a cooking class taught by someone from a different cultural background, tickets to a cultural festival or exhibition, or a workshop led by a person of color whose work inspires you and you know will resonate with the person you're giving the experience to. Experiences invite curiosity, they invite connection and appreciation. They help us understand one another in ways that are memorable and meaningful. Number four, give to causes that align with inclusion. So, for the people in your life who do not want more things, a donation in their honor can be a beautiful expression of generosity. And there are community led organizations doing powerful work every day. You might choose to support an Indigenous youth group, a migrant women's service, a refugee support organization, or a local community initiative that aligns with your values. These gifts move resources towards communities who need them the most, especially during this season of joy, this season of giving, because they say, I want my giving to make a difference. And number five, honor the women of color in your life with rest and recognition. And this one is very close to my heart because many women of color carry an invisible load all year round: emotional labor, family expectations, workplace pressures, and the ongoing need to navigate spaces not built with them in mind. If you have women of color in your life, consider a gift that centers rest, it centers care and recognition. This could be a massage voucher, a journal paired with a heartfelt note, or practical support like a day of childcare so they can rest. Sometimes the simplest gifts carry the deepest meaning. What matters most is the message behind it. I see you. I appreciate you. I honor what you carry. And sometimes I think we overcomplicate things in terms of trying to find the perfect gift to give or the gift that will be most meaningful and appreciated. But let me tell you this, if you were to write a handwritten letter and just sharing your appreciation of that person, letting them know that you see them, you honor them, you appreciate them, I believe that would go down way more memorable than perhaps an item you bought that, yes, they will love it, they will treasure it, but there's something about the weight of words that is not easily replaced by just everyday material things. There are five love languages, and I'm digressing here a little bit. And one of them is words of affirmation. And for me, that's one of my love languages. In fact, it's probably the one on the top of the list. So, a handwritten letter would go so, so far to that woman of color who is in your life, just letting them know the difference they make to you, their community, and just to lift them up. And it will cost you nothing. Okay, so as you can see, inclusive giving is simply about choosing with intentionality, widening the circle of care, and letting your generosity reflects the values you hold so close. Even one of these ideas can shift someone's Christmas in such a beautiful way. So, my friend, thank you for spending this time with me. I hope this episode has sparked new ideas for how you can give in ways that feel thoughtful, they feel joyful for you, and aligned with the world you want to help build. Generosity, which is rooted in inclusion, plants seeds that grow long after the holiday season has ended. And so I will see you next week as we continue on this journey of, reflecting and coming to a close to the year that's been 2025. Catch you next week.
We are represented. We are represented. We are represented.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and leave a review so this podcast can reach more online business owners, and together we can begin to normalize racial inclusion in the online coaching space. I'd love to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land where this podcast episode was recorded, the Wiradjuri people in central New South Wales, Australia. Music produced in Nairobi, Kenya by Patrick St. Pimbaru and Kambua Mathu. Vocals by Joanne Matata.
Represented from coast to coast.